Welcome back to Karlstad in Sweden and the Gruyère European Curling Championships 2012. I'm Richard Harding, and this afternoon I'm joined by Sander Rolvag, my colleague from Norway. Good afternoon, Sander.
Afternoon.
We are now inside the Löfbergslilla Arena for the 7th round of men's play, which sees our feature game Denmark against Sweden. Denmark with 2 defeats, Sweden unbeaten so far, dominating this championship on the men's side. And Denmark will play Sweden on sheet A. That is Tommy Sterne, the father of the Danish skip Rasmus Sterne. And Tommy's latest claim to fame was to beat Rasmus a couple of years ago and play in the World Championships. The Danish lineup: Troels Harry, Mikael Poulsen, Johnny Fredriksson and Rasmus Sterne. The alternate is Lars Vilant, and James Drybera from Scotland as their coach. Rasmus. At lead for Sweden, Victor Schall, Fredrik Lindberg at second, Sebastian Kraup at third. The skip is Niklas Edin, and alternate player is Oscar Eriksson with the coach Eva Lund. And Karlstad, the Sun City. After the 6th draw, Sweden undefeated, Norway on 5 wins, 1 defeat, Switzerland, Czech Republic and Denmark all on 4 and 2. Russia on 3 and 3, Scotland 2 and 4, France and Germany on 1 and 5, and Hungary yet to win a game. First time in the European Championships A division. Other matches: Denmark against Sweden, of course, our game. Switzerland against the Czech Republic, Norway and Germany. Scotland play France and Russia play Hungary. Denmark playing the red stones, Sweden the yellow. Appropriate colours for both these countries. Troels Harry, 21 years old. Lead for Rasmus Sterne. He's trying to get this stone onto the centre line. Victor Schall. This team have played together for about 5 years, 2007. So pretty experienced foursome now. Victor playing the corner guard. How do you see this game developing, Sander?
Well, I've been looking forward to this game. 2 really good teams here on the ice today. Quite aggressive teams at times as well, so I hope we get some stones in play, and I expect some pretty good shots being played. So just might be one of the better ones this week. As we take a look at the rules of play, you have to play 6 ends minimum. In the round robin stages, you'll be allowed 73 minutes per team, and you'll have 1 coach interaction. If you don't know what to do, you can bring on your coach. I was looking to roll to the left of our screen here. And going to see a big shot called already here. Fredrik Lindberg with the run back attempt, going to try and spill all the reds. It's a type of shot you see very often from the Swedish team. And it's going to be a bit unlucky there. And out Denmark with 2 stones in the forefoot, 2 corner guards in play. Can make things a bit messy for them. But Rasmus without the last stone advantage, not wanting those corner guards in play here. So looking for second player Mikkel Pelsen to play the hit and roll. It's just going to be the nose hit, so even though Denmark is lying 2, Sweden has a chance here to start generating some points. Going to try and play the double here and maybe get some upward movement with the shooter, try and roll in behind the corner guard. But mainly just remove the 2 reds here. Doesn't quite make that happen. So Rasmus Stjarne wants some separation here. Just going to hit and check over to the right. Johnny Fredriksson, the most experienced player on this team. Trying to hold the line here. Just going to roll a bit too far, but still good enough to lie to.
Slog ni någon take eller? Jag gjorde inte det. Jag hörde inte heller.
Sebastian Kripp with his first stone here. Was looking for a roll, can't quite make it, and Denmark will again be able to sit 2.
Niklas, vad vill du ha för fart?
Now it looks like the Danes want to play the hit and roll in behind the corner guard, Johnny Fredriksson. Once again here.
Bang! Bang! Jump! Jump! Bang! Bang! Jump! Yes! Yes! Bang! Bang! Whoa! 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 Lille rulle, Mikkel. Lille rulle. Kom! Ja, undskyld, Jørgen. Det er godt taget.
Only makes a nose hit, allowing Sweden to play it and roll. But this yellow is going to be sitting pretty high in the house, allowing Rasmus Stjarne to maybe play that short run back on his corner guard if they make it.
Det är bra fart på en hållgång. 10.65.
Ja, fej. Du vil have den lige på. Ja. Ja. 7 år, det der. Ja.
Good shot there by Rasmus. Just wanted to be at the back of the 4, I believe. Just so Sweden can't come around the corner guard and lie shot. And can't play the hit and roll to line front of the T-line. Maybe just slipped a bit too far. But looks like it's going to do the job. And Sweden's just going to freeze to the face of this redstone, just played by Rasmus Stjerny, hoping he'll come down and blast it. Maybe giving Sweden a chance of blanking the end. Retain hammer, try again in the second end.
Samma bra sättning som på tilldragningen. 90 är bra. Håll igång! Linjen är bra!
Got some really strong sweepers here in Fredrik and Victor. Really having to work this one to even get it there. It's going to be pretty shy of the house. That's an incorrect. Help me out, Richard.
Incorrect shot.
Yes.
It's a mistake from Edin there. 2 shots. Belonging to Denmark in the house, both of them in the back of the house.
Yeah, really needed to be heavy, if anything, there. Allowing Denmark to come around and set 3.
It's quite a poor shot because he's also provided a guard to come around. Make it very tough for himself with his last stone. So it wasn't just a bad shot, it was a positive shot for Denmark, unfortunately for him.
Retning er suveræn. Genial retning. 2 til 5. Kun til 5. Kun igen. Tæt. Wow, stop.
Well, good shot there from Rasmus.
Yep, really blocks off that in-turn draw now from Niklas Edin, and he'll be forced to play this hit and roll.
Good tactics as well, because he could have come in a bit further and drawn behind, but going for trying to pick up a big end of perhaps a steal of 2 rather than just 1.
Ifall banan är som du säger så, då blazar det nästan med den där isen. Det kommer att vara trögt och ospelat. Den kommer komma fram.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect shot by Denmark there. And although Niklas is very good at the take-out shots, I would probably leave him the shot here out in the fresh pebble. I'm not going to be too sure of the curl here, so I think they're going to be playing quite the upweight shot.
I think so, but he needs a fairly accurate roll in to have a chance of scoring a point here. If he doesn't get the roll correctly, he could certainly give up one shot, perhaps two. But I think you're right, you'll keep the weight up on the outside of the sheet.
Nicholas was actually asking his front end there for advice on the curl, meaning it's going to be quite the guess for them.
Well, I guess they would see it on one or two of the stones in the practice, perhaps, but still. Anxious look from Edin in the first end, big weight. Well, he cuts it to one, which is reasonably satisfactory in the circumstances. So Denmark steal a point in the first end to go 1-0 ahead. Advantage Rasmus Stern and his team. So Denmark once more for the second time in the game, starting the end. Last stone advantage continues with Nicholas Edin, as he didn't score a point in the first end. So Victor Schell, I'm sure, going for the corner guard.
Jag tror att det är lite rakare bara. Go! Plads! Tæt! 3! Så plads! Kun 3! 3! Retning og gå! Retning! God retning! Mikkel! Retning! Tæt! Retning! Tæt! Helt ind og byde centrum. Tæt! 3!
Just trying to put cover on the stone in the front of the house. They have succeeded in that. And Sander, you play competitively with the team in Norway. Have you played against Rasmus Stern?
Actually, I haven't played against Rasmus Stern, only Edin's team. Don't know them on ice, but I've seen them play a lot, obviously. Was there a follow-up question?
I just thought you might be able to give us a little bit more insight, perhaps, as to how they might play, whether I think they're quite exciting to watch. Rasmus is certainly a good prospect, still fairly young.
Yeah, he's been labelled as a bit of a crazy curling player in the forms of the shots he calls for, and playing some really big shots on occasions. Very confident player. I think he might have wisened up in the last 2 years or so, and has been playing a bit more reasonable.
So we can move over to sheet D and have a quick look at the game featuring Scotland and France. This is the first end. Tony Angibus in for France, skipping them. Good shot maker. Well, he had to move that Scottish stone out. He does, and looks like France have got 2 at that end for an early lead over Scotland.
Looks like they put usual skip Thomas Dufour on the bench for this occasion. Many teams alternating this week.
Akbar! Okay. Ryk ind i salgsten for at få 1-2.
Wilson then. His second shot here in the second end. Nice hit and roll. Stone is behind the tee line, behind that centre line, which means obviously the opposition can draw to it if they want to, but Edin favouring some cleaning up. Fredrik Lindberg, the second man for Edin, and he will remove 2 red stones from play. Good effort from Lindberg.
Take mig den. Okay. Tag 3 igen. Læg den foran. Vi holder bare mig. Du holder mig bare lidt længere. En kort, 2. Yep, retning også. God retning. God retning. 2, 3. God retning. God retning. Retning er god. 3. Mikkel ind. 3. Kommer nu. Kommer tæt. Wow. 3. Ja, tæt.
So just trying to replace the guard on that shot on the front 8 foot. Good shot from Johnny Fredriksson.
It's the Swedish coach Eva Lund, very experienced player.
Not quite sure why she's got the binoculars out when the game's being played right in front of her. Must be looking at the other end.
I'll be guessing she's watching the other teams and what stones they are playing. You will see some coaches with the binoculars looking on to see what pairs of stones the other players are playing. Just kind of have a look at the other team's research.
James Drivera from Scotland, Danish coach. World Junior Champion in 1991, a long time ago now. At the age of 15.
Go! Yep! Yep! Go! Yep! Yep!
And really nice shot there from Fredriksson. Takes the danger of the Swedish stone away and rolls in behind that guard. And these stones are lying quite nicely for Denmark. Difficult to get at. Unless you want to come round the outside, and then if you touch them, your shot will spill away from the centre of the sheet. Favouring the draw on the in turn here towards the closest stone to the centre. Hoping for a freeze onto it. So watching it carefully. I do not want this to bounce off it. Well,
good attempt, but doesn't really do much there. Had to be pretty precise. And I think Rasmus Tierney will be able to play the hit on the yellow without too much worry.
Just a fraction heavy by Sebastian Kraup. But he only needs to touch off the shot into the open, and then it's not too difficult for the next stone to take it out. Needs to play a controlled kind of weight at this, I think, Sander. This one's curling a lot. Is he past the guard? Oh no, he is not. Well, a let off there for Sweden, definitely. You can see perhaps half the stone from the other end. Looked to release it okay, but obviously the inside of it. So Edin going to draw the other side of the house. Hoping to lie two.
Så här ner den hela inåt fot. Ja. Det är nästan mittåt fot för att säkert ligga två. Ja. Men lite framför 10, okej. Gömma bakom corner är det bästa. Ja. Tror du på noll är det? 95 då? 95? Ja.
So some good discussion there between Nicholas Edin and the front end, just discussing the ice, the speed of it, what to throw. Seems like Nicholas has underthrown this again. Really working it. Three of the best sweepers here this week, trying to drag the stone down. And if they can't make it, no one can.
Well, that's an uncharacteristically poor shot from Edin. It's two draws he's come up quite short on. Even with these sweepers, as you say. So a chance now for Rasmus Stern to lie three here. Last stone belongs to Sweden, so they're definitely going to need more weight this time from Stern. Needs to curl. It does, but it runs out. Actually, I think perhaps Denmark only lie one.
Ever tempting to play the double to score 2 here?
No. Would you be?
Doesn't look like the most difficult shot.
It doesn't actually. You just hit it on the nose, really, or just off centre. Or you could hit it
on the inside.
On the inside, exactly.
Yeah, can roll quite far. Never looked at it though.
No.
Just gonna play the draw to tie things up. Don't want to give away another steal here. So last shot of the second end. Struggled a bit with the draw so far, Nicholas.
He's making them work this time as well.
Yeah. Gonna be burning off a few calories here, Victor and Fredrik. And makes it really nice. Scores 1 point. That's going to tie up the game at 1 each after 2 ends. We see Spanish team with team coach of the week, Christian Lindström. The Swedish junior world men's champion from 2011 in Perth, Scotland. He has been hired for this week to coach the Spanish women's team of Iranzu Garcia.
And is it working?
I don't think it's working too well. I haven't seen the standings today, but they have been losing a couple of games.
Sander will check this out and report back. Just saw the Swedish team have a little team meet here before the second end. The front end, Fredrik and Victor, is not happy with the stones Nicholas has been throwing. Just getting really slow split times on his stones. Just seem to be slower. So I think maybe Victor's playing the stones that Nicholas was throwing in the first couple of ends. Should have figured that out last night in the evening practice, but they're going to try and swap him now and see if it gets better. One of the things that can happen, mind you, is the stones can be absolutely fine on a certain type of ice. If you have a slightly different type of ice, the odd one or two can behave a little bit differently. So it's not just the stones, but it's the matching on the ice that can make them different as well. Play differently. Generally, they're pretty consistent, I think.
Yeah, been looking quite well. I think it's the same stones they used in Moscow last year.
It is, and the year before in Switzerland. So back again to the Scottish-French game. 2-0 Scotland trail after one end. And today, without David Murder, Tom Brewster and his two-time world silver medal winning team playing together.
Stay down on it. Right in the pop.
And a nice draw shot from Tom for a 3
Good round, guys.
to go ahead. 3 shots to 2. That should give them some confidence after their loss this morning to Switzerland. And while we were away, a couple of shots further on here. Big pile up of granite in the centre of the house. And Sterne wants to see if he can move some of the yellow stones, at least one of them. They're set up quite nicely to be used in another shot or two at the moment, but Rasmus Sterne calling to get rid of them. Well, a good shot. It certainly moved things around, but still Edin is lying one covered on the 8-foot circle. So a further guard slotted in front of the 2 Danish stones, which are currently guarding the Swedish counter on the front 8-foot circle. Looks pretty nice for Edin at this stage in the third end. Sander just telling us that the stones getting swapped around by the Swedes after 2 missed draws from Edin. So cleared the Swedish stone out. Hungary and Russia. Blank the first end. And here a huge pile of stones in play at the second end. And after all that, it will be a steal of a point for 1 and a Russian lead.
Jeg kjører det hele tiden. Nei, altså, du kan se, jeg tror man lurer. Släpp av.
Vent lidt, Johnny. Den ned der, ruller syveren derinde der. 7. Er det meget fristende at spille efter det? 9. Sådan. Gør det. 9. Kom lige ned.
So a chance for Rasmus Sterne to clear both these stones of his own out of the road. He has the advantage of the last stone here, and he wants to be able to get at that counter of Sweden's.
Tæt shooteren herover.
Well, one of them's gone in the shooter, but the other one's still there. Sebastian Kraup now
Vad sa du? 17? Ja, 25. Upp då. Den är lång, den är lång, den är lång.
Just trying to
Ända ner mot fötterna.
Ja, den behöver eka för att stanna.
to guard up.
Det kan vara ner mot röd.
Nej, den är inte emot röd. Den är kortare än fötterna nu.
Nej, nej.
Meter kort om röd.
Leder för nästan vara med, va?
Wow, wow, wow. Japp, japp. Hårt! 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 Hårt!
And he's trying to make sure that it's as difficult as possible for Denmark to lift these two guards out of play with one shot.
30. Ja, typ.
So pretty well placed by Sebastian Kraut there, I think.
Yeah, pretty nice guard, and Johnny Fredriksson will have to make a pretty good one to remove both the guards, or even get that shot stone moving. Just waiting for line here. Looking pretty close. That's an excellent shot by the Danish third. Has made the double and rolled off a little bit. Might have made that out-turn draw a bit harder. Obviously Denmark would like to have a few options to get to the forfeit.
Nej, det var den du drog.
Säger de här.
Jag gillar inte det.
Sexan hade du
Det är
sist.
knacken eller garden.
Well,
Sexan hade du sist. När vi drog för poäng.
Johnny Fredriksson, the old man in this team.
Jag tyckte jag släppte mig ganska försiktigt i linjen.
The other three in their 20s. Johnny,
He's 37, I believe.
37. So Edin now is trying to replace the cover here.
Håll rent. Rent.
Passen eller lite längre.
Reach pretty good. Just needs to get it lined up properly. Just to curl a little bit at the end. Nice shot from Niklas Edin. You can't. Well, you can try and come through that gap. Be difficult to get through and roll to the right place. But I think the shot might be on. What do you think here, Rasmus? Sander?
Har du så bra den här i hullet?
I have to take a look at the house again here.
Du kan godt få skotten her.
We'll say that.
Du kan spille den der. Har I ikke helt den? Nu er den
Hard
her.
to tell all the way from the other end of the arena.
Næsten det hele.
What shot are we looking at, Richard? The hit and roll?
Well, that's what they're looking at now, but I think the chance to come through between the red and yellow guards there is pretty tight.
Der er vi stadig hullet.
Come through, catch a quarter of the yellow and roll in behind the cover.
Bare hvis du lægger den hernede,
It's
altså.
a thought, but I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Jeg kan godt lide det der rulle, Johnny. Hvad er det altså? 10? Ja.
Seems like they're going for the hit and roll on the left yellow.
And this stone could well draw quite a lot quite quickly. So he needs to be careful not to catch his own front stone on the way past here. And the ice being given means the weight's probably going to be a little bit controlled weight, all to do with weight and direction. They'll run to it immediately. Must be. This will draw quickly off the centre line towards the guard. High chance of catching the guard. And he does catch quite a bit of it. Going to get a fortunate roll though.
If that could sit for second shot. And it does. So we could call that second prize. Sweden first to play a hit on that red stone now.
That would leave Rasmus Stern facing 3. Will he be looking for the hit and roll in behind the guard, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Put some pressure on Rasmus. And it might look pretty similar to what Nicholas Dean was faced with in the first end.
Well, he got the hit, but he didn't get the roll across behind the guard.
Yeah, it's a shame. Just could have rolled a foot to the right and force Rasmus Stjernen to play it. Probably a hit on the Yellowstone to the wide right. Or a difficult draw. Now he's being able to play the same hit. He just saw Nicholas throw. And really only just has to nudge in a little bit to score. Last one of the third end for Denmark. Facing 3 yellows.
Needs to curl, I think.
Can't afford to be high on line here. He's going to roll out, and that's going to be a massive steal of 2 for Sweden.
Well, he played big weight at that, Sander. And a really critical miss in the third end from Rasmus Stjernen. Stjernen had to go 3-1 behind.
So, as we wait for the third end in our future match, going to head over to Switzerland and Czech Republic. They're playing on the sheet just next to our game. Last one of the third for Sven Michel of Switzerland. Facing a couple of Yellowstones. He's going to roll a bit too far, just like we saw Rasmus Stjernen do in our game. And the Czechs will pick up a steal, make it a 2-shots-to-nothing lead. The struggle continues for Switzerland.
Det är 4 fot, lite trögare, lite kärvare liksom.
So back to our feature game. 3 ends in. 3-1 Sweden leading over Denmark. The Danes stealing a point in the first end. Could possibly have been 2, but 1 point then. Off to a great start, but after that it's been a little bit one-way traffic in favour of Sweden. Victor Schall 81% to this point in the championships. Fairly good numbers for lead.
Långt bakom.
Rolls Harry 70%, a little bit lower overall.
76%, I believe, but still 76%.
76%, I beg your pardon.
But still a bit less than you'd expect from a lead at this caliber. I really think you should be playing at least 80% as a lead. playing numbers doesn't say it all. Obviously the sweeping and team communication is a very important part of being the lead. Fredrik Lindberg at 79%, pretty decent numbers.
Okay.
Mikael Poulsen, 78% at second. Second position in these days involves a lot of, it always did involve quite a bit of hitting, but it involves quite a lot of hitting and clearing up after the lead has played at times. Things might be lying quite badly against you and you've got to try and make clearances of more than one opposition stone. Poulsen then. Succeeding in that.
Borde kunna finnas lite curl här.
Lite, Niklas curl borta lite grann.
Ja, det finns.
Mat. Japp, japp.
Really nice hit and roll by Fredrik Lindberg.
Good shot.
We haven't really seen too many stones in play here, not a lot of taps and draws as I was hoping for. Maybe just the ice conditions making the teams play a bit cautious, playing the hits rather than the draws. Maybe just being a bit cautious as we're two very good teams and don't want to be caught in a mess too early on. I'm going to pop over to sheet C for an update between Norway and Germany. Andy Lang with the last stone on the fourth end for the Germans. Is 2 points down on Norway. Andreas Kempf and Marcus Messensel just backing off the stone here, looking for the draw to score 2, and Torger Nergars sweeping is futile as Andy Lang secures 2 points, and it's all even after 4 ends between Norway and Germany.
So Sweden again lying in a favourable position here, with the stone on the top of the 4-foot circle.
Spil indlæg via den. Tag den her, hånden her, så den er i spil stadigvæk. Okay. Spil 8 ud af hånden.
And Johnny Fredriksson, 78% accuracy in the championship to this point.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Shoot.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
They need to keep on this. He's going for the hit and roll in behind. Well, nice shot using his own stone to do that. Nice result, but the double raise is there. It's not that hard, I don't think. What do you think, Sander?
Well, I'd expect Sebastian Kruip to be pretty close with it. It's going to be hard to stick both yellows. He might be removing one or your own. As you look at Johnny Fredriksson, just play this really nice tick and roll.
So Sebastian Krupp, 79%. A lot of these players in around 79-80% mark to this point. Krupp will play a good firm take-out weight at this. Not far away.
Really nice shot by Sebastian Krupp.
So Sweden now lie 2, but at least Rasmus Stern can see it. Going back to the Scotland-France game. Here Tom Brewster has a take-out opportunity for a 3 in the 4th end. Game tied 3-3 at the moment. Must get past the guard to make this shot. He will do that without too much trouble. Hit on the nose, and 3 to Scotland for a 6-3 advantage.
Good end, Scott. Nice drop.
Tom skipping his team again. David Murdoch on the bench through illness. Well, not even on the bench, in bed, I think.
There's been a bit of illness here this week, actually. I know the Norwegian team has struggled a bit. Thomas Olsrud, the skip of the team, is actually out there sweeping now as his 3rd. Torger is not feeling too well, and he's taking charge of the head.
Jag tycker nog hellre låta han, så kan man göra det. Så låta han sätta lycka, men ja, jag vet inte. Lätt att rycka, man vill inte rycka för långt, men jag har några fina kanske.
So Edin lying in 2nd position here. Denmark have last stone advantage. They trail 3 shots to 1. Once Nicholas Edin has finished here, I suspect they'll be lying 2 against, and at least one of them will be guarded. So advantage definitely Sweden in this game at this point.
Vilken stämmer du på?
Tia vickar lite vänster. Ja.
Last stone then, first stone of the skips here in the 4th end. Nicholas Edin, and again he's got the sweepers working furiously, this time on a takeout, trying to get the angle perfectly for the roll. Well, he doesn't succeed, hits it a little bit too full. So here, same shot going to be attempted by Rasmus.
Du skal prøve at holde rullen. Hold den hele vejen på centerlinjen, og så slip den lige til sidst, så popper den over.
And I think the main difference between Rasmus Stern and Edin is that Rasmus is just missing 1 or 2 of the simpler shots. Edin gets into his stride and doesn't miss much at all. 73% then for the championship to the end of 6th round. He will hit, and he will roll across. Just a bit too far, wanted it to stop just a little bit sooner than that.
järn ger 2. Äckligt om jag kommer kort och lägger den här. Fjärde omgången. Som det ligger nu, då ska jag ändå dra den 4-foten. Jag lär mig sätta inte det. Spelar kontroll här också. Om jag bara klipper den så måste jag i alla fall sätta chappen där. Så får vi dubbel. Om jag hade sidan blaze så kan vi klippa egen.
Jag är på, om du inte känner att du har farten så är jag på det. Jag tycker egentligen det här är uppgiften. Hit, får man kant här så är det ju... Det är ingen gimme, men... Ja. Men...
Mittåt fot.
Ja.
So a bit back and forth there, discussing the options. Nicholas first looking at just hitting the redstone on the wing there, allowing Rasmus to draw the forfeit for 2. But they've elected to play the freeze here onto the red. Just it doesn't seem like he's too confident with the draw weight. That's why he's. That was probably why he was discussing other options. Going for the intern freeze.
Trying to make sure that Rasmus Stern perhaps can only pick up 1 point.
Well, needs to make it into the house, and it might be a hit for 3. You know, that's actually not that bad.
And he's struggling with the weight, Nicholas. We think it's a different stone number. Sure, I can see what number it is. It looks like number 8 to me. Well, I think the weight would have been good if he could get past the guard, but of course, just touching the guard, he rolls in to lie in third shot position. Rasmus Stern, first shot here, has to come through this narrow gap between the 2 yellows at the top of the picture for his 2. So the weight and the distance important for this shot.
Yep. Yep. Go on then. Yes. Go on then. Yep. Go on then. Yes. Go on.
He's got a good looking shot here if he can just get through the guard, in between the guards. He does. Great shot from Rasmus Stern. Denmark get their 2 shots back to tie the game up at 3 shots each after the 4th end. And gave the sweepers a workout in the process. So we can see again Rasmus exhorting his sweepers to sweep all the way here. Gets a bit excited, doesn't he? Good shot though. Important shot there for Denmark to get the 2 and come back into the game, which they most certainly have. Nicholas Edin struggling a bit with the weight. My intelligence has told me that it was stone number 6 he was playing. Normally they would play 1 and 2 for the lead, 3 and 4 for the second, 5 and 6 for the third, and 7 and 8 for the skip, but looks like they've swapped them around.
think he was playing the 4 actually to start off the game. Remember Fredrik Lindberg offering the number 4 stone for Nicholas, playing one of the first draws of the game.
With the consistency of the ice, generally, there's more and more focus on stone matching and stone amount of draw on a stone. On every stone, in fact, so some of the teams, particularly the experienced teams, the ones with the most resources, like Sweden and Norway and Scotland, Switzerland, they are always looking at the stones all the time. So the centre guard in place by Denmark. Corner guard not very far out by Victor Schell. And then the come around there from Trolls Harry.
Ja! Linje också!
Vad hade du då? Jag vet inte. 17. Jag gick bara på känsla, jag tyckte den var kort.
So it's Norway playing Germany on sheet C. Thomas Ilsrud with the last stun of the 5th end here. Looking for just a controlled nose hit in the back of the house, I believe, to score 2. Sweeping it hard to hold the line, and it's not going to roll far. And it's going to be a score of 2 for Norway. They head into the halftime break with a 4-2 lead over Germany. Back on our sheet, we'll see Mikkel Poulsen play a very nice out-turn draw. And I think you might just see Fredrik Lindberg play a hit on those guards, try and open things up. Sweden does have hammer and would like access to the forefoot. Bit of a wobble there from the Swedish second player. Doesn't quite get too much movement on that second yellow.
Den skal tangere center lige med sådan et stykke herovre. Okay. Så mest der sten på den her side. Og var det 1? Det er 2. 1. 1. Gør der. God retning. Super retning. Rolig, rolig boys. Nu er det sikkert over. Ja. Ja. Kom nu vejen. Kom nu vejen. Kom nu med, skal den
This guard is just going to creep over the hog line. Just to make this run back attempt as difficult as possible for Fredrik Lindberg. Much better slide this time. Some really big weight. Oh my, what a shot by Fredrik Lindberg runs the guards back, gets one of the reds and moves the second off the centre line. Amazing shot. Does leave a couple of centre guards in play still, but did really help out his team for Lindberg there.
Han kommer ned til resten. Tæt. Det er en 3. Ja, hvad delen der.
Feeding. Ja. Knappen er bra.
So missed opportunity by Denmark. Johnny Fredriksson not being able to curl enough on that draw has set up a very easy double for Sebastian Kraut. But mistakes back to back here. We're going to take a look at another game going on here. It's Jiří Snitil with the last stone of the fifth end. Czech Republic is playing Switzerland. And he might just be looking to tap this red at the back here to score 2. Looking pretty close, just gets by the top yellow. What a super shot by Jiří Snitil. Looking happy with his own effort there, and they're going to head into the halftime break with a 4-1 lead over the Swiss. Now Denmark here, just going to ignore that yellow stone. Out in the 12 foot and just come down with the draw again, this time. Comes up a bit shy, not sure if they were just playing the playing guard. I think they maybe wanted that one into the top of the 12 foot.
Vi kan ju få på den också. På den också. Då kan vi få ticken in hit också. Ja, precis. Om vi missar orden.
Doesn't quite make the gap, but does the next best thing there. Rips off the guard just played by Fredriksson. We're down to skip stones at this end here.
Thank you.
desperate to close the gap there.
Yeah. And I think Sweden is looking at maybe playing the double peel and then try and run their own yellow through.
Could be fairly accurate for that, of course.
För det finns, eller så finns det. Kommer det hålet så går vi någon av dem. Tar det hålet så sitter det, då tar det skotten. Han har hela bollen på kanten, men man kan inte göra vettigt med det.
Några sätt i alla fall. Så.
Hellre för tunt då. Alltså jag tror inte det...
Ja, går jag hålet så är det okej. Ja. Det är bara tunt i den är ju inte okej ifall jag går ovanför. Nej. Då borde vi kanske klippa skotten på vägen ner ändå. Men...
So they're just gonna throw this one with some heat. Just maybe through the gap, but best result would probably be to take off both the reds and maybe spill your own yellow in. Very close. Just curled a bit too much.
Well, the guard remains, and Rasmus Stern has that shot on the 4-foot circle. I'm sure his next attempt will be to come around that Yellowstone partly to guard and prevent the raised takeout on his own counter on the 4-foot circle. So he wants to come partly around that guard by a fraction so that the raise is not there anymore. So 3-3 the score in this game. This is the sixth. Sorry, the fifth end. We're in at present. Chance here for Denmark, perhaps to steal a point. This is Stern's last stone. Important that it's placed in the right spot. He doesn't want to leave a raised takeout for Edin, which could result in the Swedes getting two. So he wants to be in the house here, but blocking the raised takeout, and he's very wide. Well,
It's not the first time they've undercurled coming down that way.
Still poses a problem for Edin, but he probably needs to hit that pretty close to on the nose, and they'll both go and he'll pick up two. Is that what you think he's going to do?
They're looking at it. Just I think Nicholas is just going to go down and see how much you can see from the hag. Looks like he can see all of it, so should be able to come to nose. But if elected to play this with a normal weight,
not too heavy eye. Ooh. There's always obviously a chance of hitting it slightly on the high side. Has to be very accurate in the direction here. My goodness, it's a full
if this is
shot.
what Nicholas calls normal weight, I don't want to see the up weight. It's just going to tick off the guard.
Oh, that was a baddie.
Yep.
Big mistake by Nicholas Edin. Really had to make sure to remove one red.
That's right, could afford to be perhaps on the high side but not on the low side. The guard catching him.
So after 5 ends, it's Denmark with the 5 shots to 3 lead. And both teams will have a 5-minute break here before the next 5 ends.
And a couple of highlight points in this game so far. Nicholas Edin in the second end, drawing against 2 Danish stones for a single point to tie the game at 1-1. Having to sweep all the way, but they got it there. And now in the third end, Rasmus Stern facing 3 stones, going for the hit, but rolling out and giving up a steal of 2 points to Sweden. Just ran pretty straight on him at the end there, didn't curl as much as he thought. Next end up, and Rasmus again with the last stone here. This time an important draw shot for his pair. He makes it, takes 2 to tie the game back up at 3-3. And of course, as we just saw, a steal of 2 points in the 5th to give him a 5-3 advantage. We'll join the Russia-Hungary game for a quick update in the 5th end. Last stone here for Hungary's Christian Hall, facing 2 Russian stones in the rings. He has to tap this one up to prevent a loss of 2. And he doesn't get it, I don't think. Five shots to 2, Russia leading Hungary at the 5th end break. Scotland are leading France 7-5. Russia 5-2 over Hungary. Norway 4-2 against Germany at the 6th end, and after 6 the Czech Republic are ahead of Sweden 4 shots to 1. Eva Lund getting our team ready for the second half. Sweden trailing Denmark 5 shots to 3, and a win for Denmark, more important really for them than Sweden at this stage. Sweden undefeated so far. And after 5 ends, these are the cumulative statistics. 76% for the Danes, out drawing Edin and his men, but the hits are in favour of Sweden. Just a single point separating the 2 teams. Does that seem about fair to you, Sander?
Yeah, I think so. Hasn't been the best game, really. We've seen some absolute screamers, but we've seen a couple of poor shots as well. So just overall, not what I was expecting but maybe the ice conditions are just a bit difficult. Looked a bit better last night. Although I did see the Swedish team, the women's team of Sweden, play a pretty good game just in the previous drop, so maybe just struggling a little bit here, the teams.
Victor Schell, 86% thus far in this game. Right up there with the level it needs to be.
Yeah, hasn't really made too many mistakes. Rarely does.
And interestingly, Edin calls him to put the corner guard up not quite as far out into the corner as some of the other teams I've been noticing in this game.
Yeah, that happened just a couple of ends back as well. Just not swinging as much coming to the barrier. I think Nicholas would have liked the corner guard to be a bit wider.
Controls Harry, he's at 91%.
Yeah, far above his average so far this week at 76, so it's going to be improving on those numbers.
So, tempting just to block the way to the stone just behind the tee line, the centre line there. Victor Schall will play corner guard to the other side of the sheet of ice. Well, this one further out towards the side of the sheet. Rasmus Sterne ignoring these stones, calling for a draw from Poulsen. 74% today for the Danish second player. Perhaps a bit too close to the other stone. Fredrik Lindberg on 92%. He's played a stormer today. And he moved just about everything on with that shot. Stones are now in the back of the house. Never looks very happy, Fredrik, but should do in this game. So, Rasmus Stern in reasonable shape here. What do you think, Sander?
Yeah, well, doesn't have that centre guard in play, so it just needs to be careful. With Sweden having that corner guard, they could easily produce a deuce here. But Johnny Fredriksson makes a really nice shot.
Hits and rolls across. Denmark will now lie 3.
Wouldn't say there's too much risk for any team here. It's pretty open.
Looks as if Sweden might be forced to take a single point. Kruip now on 66%. A little bit low for him.
That's a really nice shot by Sebastian Kruip. Don't think Johnny Fredriksson will have too many problems removing the yellow. It's more or less just a nose hit here. And there we go.
Edin pointing to the nearest of these stones for the next freeze. And here we go again. Fredriksson clattering into the bundle of stones and removing the important one from their perspective. So another attempted freeze, this time from Sebastian Kruip. This time onto the stone at the back of the 4-foot circle. I need to sweep it all the way to get it close. Still going. Powerful sweepers Edin has in his team. Very well swept, and he will almost freeze it. It's about as close as you can get.
Yeah, just wanted that an inch or two more towards the centre line. So I think Rasmus will be able to squeeze that one out. Stones are quite lively, the house are quite lively as well. And Rasmus is also very known to play the peels quite hard. So I think you might see some heat here. Big extension, I believe. Looking to improve his stats a little bit. Oh, I wasn't even sure he was able to hit that red. So without removing the yellow. So a big miss there by Rasmus, but did help. It did kind of help a little bit. It freed up the yellow, that's for sure.
Managed to keep the one he touched in the house too.
Yeah, that's pretty
even at that speed.
Exactly. Now Sweden just trying to figure out where to put this yellow. Doesn't want to leave Rasmus a double takeout here.
So there are 3 stones remaining. Nicholas Edin has the last stone advantage. His teammate selecting which stone he's going to use for this. They had both of them over at the hack, so that they could select which one they wanted for him. What number have we got this time, I wonder? And only 56% for Edin. A low stat for him. Controlled takeout here, hoping to remove the two red Danish stones and lie to. And he will only get one and roll his shooter out of the house. Well, he's not on top form today. Struggling with the game. He seems to be struggling with the ice and with the stones, but I have to say I don't think it's really either of these things, because the other players are finding it all right. He's just off colour a wee bit, off target.
Yeah, I think you're right, Richard. Doesn't seem to be having his best game.
So Rasmus Stern, chance here to lie three, I beg your pardon. Force Edin to take one. Things looking good for Denmark. He will hit and stick, remove the yellow stone from play, and I think if that back one's just cutting the circle, the Danes will be lying 3 shots here. Edin will be forced to take a single point. Now, so the hit on the nose. The shot selected for Edin. Controlled weight for his single point. And he succeeds with that, hits and rolls across, but still picks up the one. So 1 point forced on Sweden by Rasmus Stern and his Danish team. 5-4. Denmark now lead after 6 set. So 5-4 then, the scoreline here. At the start of end number 7, all to play for. Sweden enjoying a 6-win, 0-loss record at this stage. Denmark on 4 wins and 2 defeats, so they need the win more. So the guard established by Sweden. just off the centre line. Come around from Trolls Harry, too heavy really. Not the best spot to be in.
Där du står eller lite längre? Lite långt. Här har vi. Ja, Victor.
So really going all out here to force Denmark, or maybe pick up a steal. Putting up 2 centre guards. Trolls Harry looking to keep this red one in front of the tee line. And that's a really nice draw by the Danish lead. As we head over to Sheet D for an update between Scotland and France. They're in the 7th end. France trailing by 3. And it's Tony Angiboost with the last stone for France, calling on vice skipper Lionel Roux to help out on this draw here. Facing 2, needs to get there. And it's looking pretty short for weight. And it's going to actually stop short of the rings. A big steal for Scotland as they now have a 5-shot lead, 9-4. This is Mikkel Poulsen on our featured sheet this afternoon.
Plads, plads og plads. 6 her. Plads. 6. Vandring, plads. Trolsjæk, 5. Plads.
Looking for another draw, so it's shaping up to be a very interesting end. A couple of really fearless calls here. Denmark's just ignoring the guards. Coming into the top of the 4.
Bra fart för frys. Nej, det är lite dunt.
Lång.
Det är dunt.
Känns lång. Ja, den är...
Bak 4. Curla hela vägen.
Den är lång. Bak 8 är den.
Kan vi göra något?
Den är lång. Den kommer vara lång för runddrag också.
Mistake there by Fredrik Lindberg. Probably wanted to tap the reds a little bit. Doesn't curl quite enough, and it's just going to tick off that top red, slip into the back of the 8 foot. Denmark still lying 2, and they're going to bring another stone in here, looking to place this just along the centre line, the top of the 12 or the 8 foot. That might just make things difficult for Sweden. Doesn't quite get the curl here, but does find a nice spot. And this spells problems for Sweden.
Stones lie quite favourably for Denmark, I think. You could come try to take the front one out, seeing about a third of it, but it will just lock on the other ones.
Sitter den där och den där.
Ja, skjut rakt.
den höga garden ner där. Får du träff lite grann där så gör du trippen.
Okej.
Vilken hand?
So, Pia Lindholm here. Be the, unsure of the term, head coach, team coach for Sweden.
Yes, he's
It's,
head coach.
looking for a big shot from Sebastian Kraut, running the long centre guard back. Pretty close to it. But doesn't help too much. Has opened the Reds up a little bit.
Catches one of his own stones, rolls in behind to lie. Third shot, but the two Reds we see on the front there, their first and second shot, belonging to Denmark.
Den ska inte så långt ner. Nej, det ska ju vara. Han har tagit den bagerste.
Rasmus is a bit puzzled. Certainly you don't like to put the centre guard up when you have the last one. If you do put up the centre guard, you might just see Nicholas play a draw around and might just make it difficult for the Danes. Rasmus is going to call a timeout here. Well, technically not a timeout, it's going to be what we now call a coach interaction. I think the clock's just going to stop until the coach comes down, and then they'll have 1 minute to talk with James Trybrough. But their clock will continue to run as they speak with him.
Bare lige gå rundt bag den her igen. Så har han stadig trippen, ikke? Du går rundt der. Og så der. Så nu til at dække noget andet siden vores egen eller ryg. Kan du ikke spille den der? Either the one on the center. I get like a better angle. Yeah, that's so easy. And then you like 3 for 2. It's like if you get slide inside, just tap right there. And get that angle off there and get that in there. Shooter, you want to leave it there and put that one there.
No.
Otherwise, yeah.
If you want to pop this, then you need to...
Vi skal komme tilbage ind.
What? Det var, han kommer den vej ind i den igen. Så lægger der 2 røde foran, eller en rød og en gul foran her.
You triple that, you double it. Don't think so. Yes.
3, 2, 1, and timeout's over.
8'eren må ikke forsvinde over.
James Trybrough have to leave the ice.
Skal herind.
The concern is to leave a double or triple takeout for a Dean, which he's perfectly capable of making on his day.
Yeah, the angles aren't the best for the Danes.
No.
And I think they decided to tap it up here and change it about.
If you hit the front one just about on the nose of those red ones, I think all 3 could go.
Yep, that's where they've elected to come on down and tap their own reds around. Just hoping to make things a bit more difficult for Sweden.
Certainly looks to have played plenty of weight at this anyway.
It's pretty close. Well, I think we might just see the Sweden play a hard one anyway.
I'm sure we will.
But before that, we're going to take a look at another game. It's Norway playing Germany. Thomas Ilsrud here with the last draw. of the 7th end.
Linja strøken. Linja bra.
Just waiting for a line here. Weight seems to be there. Just needs to pass that yellow on the right hand side of the house. And now the line's there. And that's a very nice draw by the Norwegian skip. And Norway will lead the game 6 shots to 3 after 7 ends. And now, on our future cheat, we're going to see the heat. Sebastian Kruip looking to remove some red stones here, and he's going to do that quite nicely. That's more or less the best he could do. He could probably get a bit more action on that last red left there, but he'll probably just jam onto one of the yellows anyway. So
3 go, but 1 gets locked and remains. Denmark, I think, looking to try and pick up 2 here, always when they have the last stone advantage. This could happen.
Godt arbejde, boys.
Well, a draw shot right into the centre of the ring there, and line 2. Have a quick look at the Czech Republic game against Switzerland. The Czechs are 5-1 up after 6 ends. This the 7th. Sten Michel, chance here to draw for 2, narrow the deficit. So, fresh from their win over Scotland, the Swiss struggling this afternoon. 5-3 now the score after 7 ends of play in that game.
Svårt sen att få bort det bara. Fast det behöver vi inte om vi ligger skottet där. Nej. Frysningen ligger han dock 2 på. Den är tråkig. Studsar ut lite, blir också lite tråkigt. Fast då får man ju en till frysning om man får ner det där lite grann bara.
Eller så klipper vi den bara.
Den är jäkligt tunn att bara få den. Grymt tunn, det är träff där.
Spela på någon sån här då. Styra hit.
Istället att de ligger 2 och lägger den här då. Det är svårt ändå. Jag tror nästan vi får gå på att täpa ner det. Yes. Bakkant 4-8 någonstans för att försöka få så bra linje som möjligt.
So Sebastian Kruip and Niklas Edin just discussing the options. I'm gonna come down here with a tap weight, try and create a pocket of reds at the back of the 4, and maybe sit in front with the shooter.
Trying to set up the steal of a point, I guess, but should be useful at 5-4 behind without the last stone in this end. So Edin, his first stone at skip here. The sweepers of his have worked hard today.
perfect shot by Nicholas Edin.
Pretty good. But I think Stern can take it out and roll to the right as we look at it. Problem with that though is it just allows the last Swedish stone to come right into the middle of the house and lock against the two Danish counters, making it difficult for Denmark to take a point. So he's going to hit this one. Needs to be on the inside. Well, moved everything. Quite a few stones disappeared, but some are still there, and it's now not clear which of the two teams lie the shot. So another look at the contact here. Right into the two, and everything's moving. It ends up, we can perhaps see in a moment, for the overhead it ends up with. Well, who's lying the first shot? Could be Sweden. Yellowstone maybe slightly further in than the red.
Hard to tell, really. I think they might just call a measure on that if those stones remain untouched.
Last stone here though belongs to Rasmus Stern. Things are a lot more open for him now than they were a shot ago.
Okej, fart. Wow-linje. Hur långt? Ja, bak 4. Wow-linje också. Wow-linje! Här.
Edin must lie here.
Här, kolla kvast. Hard, Johnny, go! Go, Johnny, go!
Well, I think Stern might have a tap here for 3.
I think it's hard to tell what stones are.
I think the yellow on the left,
really,
if you can touch it back and roll, depends on whether the yellow outcounts the red for the two being looked at the moment by Rasmus. Certainly then, if you move that yellow one, it certainly will result in him getting 2 here. Whether he can get the 3rd point depends on which of these stones are closer.
Hold den sikkert, Johnny, hele vejen. Slip den til sidst. Jeg tror, det er check-out til 3. Eller setback til 3.
I thought it was pretty close between those two stones at the back as well, but Rasmus feels that if he could just be able to come down here with the end-turn tap, he could score 3. Last stone at the 7th end. Delicate shot.
The line is absolutely vital here.
Maybe looking a bit pacey here.
Curls a lot at the end though.
Come on, Johnny.
Maybe be able to move their yellow there at the back as well.
Well, he moved it a fraction, which could be just the difference. I think it is.
Yeah, looking like 3 now for certain.
Nice shot from Rasmus Stern there.
Så jävla säker är jag inte.
Jag tar mätning på den.
Could be between the red. Yep, those two. The third shot, I think it's the red, I have to say.
Så säker är jag inte.
So Nicholas Edin not just getting the weight.
So we're being able to see just the pressure needle here move about a little bit. Looked like it was moving more on the red stone, meaning that Denmark will score 3. That was pretty close. After 7 ends, Denmark 8, Sweden 4.
Han har 29.
Jag glider långt här. Jag behöver nog köra också. Jag vill hålla rent. Vad det är. Lite rakt.
So you see the lead figures here. Only draws for Trolls and Victor, posting good numbers so far through 7 ends. Two nice corner guards by Victor, man in picture. Mikkel Poulsen is now allowed to remove the Swedish corner guards and does that quite nicely. And I think you'll see Denmark play a lot of peels here. Just want to keep things open now with that 4-point lead. Sweden, the team that needs to press on and put stones in play here. So 2 nice peels by Mikkel Poulsen. We're gonna skip over to sheet B now. It's Yuri Sneetel, I believe, playing the last one of the 8th end.
Beeline puts it. Yep. Here's Abbe. Here's Abbe. Get it. Fire. Hard.
Sweeping this one hard to get there. Looking to score 3 here with the draw. And does that quite nicely. Finds the lid. And hands are shaking, meaning the Czech Republic will win this game. 8 shots to 3 and moves to 5 wins and 2 losses. Switzerland moves to 4 and 3. And back to our game, we'll see Johnny Fredriksson try and remove a yellow centre guard. Sweden just tried to play a little split on the Danish centre guard, ending up just tapping it straight back. Well, that's why we have 2 red stones in the forfeit right now. But at least Sweden has been able to open the centre line. And I'm not sure what happened here. I think maybe they were looking to play a freeze on the red ones, but Stone somehow just pulling up short, and the Swedish boys not really sure what happened. Kraup being outshot by Fredriksson. A good 11%, so that certainly paints the picture. Fredriksson again, very accurate, very nice shot, makes the double. Now for sure Sebastian Kraup just looking to play a little tap. Again, just trying to create this nest here at the back of the fort using the Danish stones. Victor and Fredrik working as hard. Looks to be over curling a little bit here. And doesn't quite push the red one back. And will just lie in the open. A pretty easy shot for Rasmus. I think he's just going to try and roll in front of his own 2 stones. So Scotland picks up another win here over France, 9 shots to 7. See that the last stones were in play there, so guessing Tom Brewster just removed a single stone with his first shot, leaving no chance of France scoring 2 and getting the extra end. As we see Rasmus Stjerne making a beauty of a shot.
Svårt att få bort det här för...
I'd say this was a perfectly played end by Denmark, not missing anything, and Sweden not really being able to put the stones in the right spot. Nicholas has 2 stones here, needs to generate 2 points. Might prove difficult.
Alternativt den här.
Det är nästan intressant att spela en hel match. För att
trycka ut vinkeln här.
Det är bara
Nej, jag vet inte. Ja, man går...
hittills i slutet.
Nej, det kanske inte. Men jag tycker nog den här.
Någonting vi inte spelat på en match med längre 7 omgångar som första match.
Och sen måste vi sätta viking bakom garden. Så får vi en 1 eller 0.
Jag har ingen aning om det spelar.
Nu får de bestämma poäng. Fryser vi här. Lägger en gard så får vi bara 1 ändå. För vi har ju ingenting att göra på den. Yes.
So looks like Nicholas is opting for a hit here. Certainly looks difficult to score 2 here. Not sure if this is considered a bailout shot or if it's just trying to play the double and maybe stick the shooter in behind the corner guard. The skips haven't really been playing too well here. I just think Stjerne has made a couple of more key shots than Nicholas, and that's just been the difference really. Not the worst of shots here by the Swedish skip, but couldn't quite roll in front of that red to the left, so should be a pretty straightforward hit for Rasmus. Even if he rolls out, it's gonna be a force on Nicholas Edin to score the single. So would have missed this high side if anything. And does quite nicely. They wanted to keep it in front of their shot stone, but I think forcing Nicholas to a 1 here is quite good as well. There'll still be 3 shots up on the Swedes and get the hammer back, so should be quite difficult for Sweden to get back in the game. But a good start would be to make this nose hit here for a single. Do you think there's any chance of Sweden making it back, Richard?
Don't know. Nicholas Edin's been struggling all game just to get his weight, and a little bit offline at times as well. I think the rest of his team are playing pretty well, but he's struggling himself. He's entitled to that at times though, because sometimes in the game we commentated on the other day, he was just shooting the lights out, couldn't miss a thing himself, and the other 3 guys were struggling a little bit. But this does look like their first loss potentially. 8-5 now the score, forced to take the single point there. And of course the critical last stone advantage now back with Rasmus Stjerne and his Danish team. So end number 9. Coming up in this game. So welcome back to the Lofbergs Lila Arena in Karlstad. We are watching the game Denmark versus Sweden. 8-5, Denmark leads with last on advantage here in the 9th end. And first centre guard put up by Victor Schall from Sweden. Trolls Harry trying to push the stone into the house so that they can hit it for the next shot. Just missing there. So now the attempt to touch this stone into the edge of the sheet of ice and run his shooter out the way from Trolls Harry, and closer than the last time, but still the touch, and it rolls just into the back corner of the house. So 2 guards established by Nicholas Edin, Fredrik Lindberg. Trying to draw it behind them. A little bit firm here, but too much sweeping. We were afraid that the stone was going to catch the guards, but actually it passed by a little bit. Sterna now going for the clearance of these stones. Michael Paulson, the man to do it, trying to clear them both. He will not succeed with that, but takes one away and runs his shooter stone out of play. I think it's possibly too much to come back from. 3 down without the last stone in the 9th end for Edin. This could be their first loss of the week. So 2 guards back again. We will have a look in the centre ice game. Norway against Germany. Norway 6-3 ahead here. And Germany's Andy Lang with this draw attempt. Having to draw to against these Norwegian stones for 1 to narrow the score from 6-3 to 6-4 after the 9th end. They will play the last end coming home. Back to our game. Guard removed, and the red stone of Denmark's moving to the wing. Nicholas Edin putting the guard back again. So they lie one behind the two guard stones, but it is right at the back of the house, so it's not posing too much danger for Sternet. Johnny Fredriksson, this time a good chance to lift both these Swedish stones and run your shooter. Well, no, he just halves it out of play and runs himself.
Aldrig. Ja, den är längre än den andra. Just nu. Rakt 4. Hänger 4 ska dra. Nej. Okej. Okej. So, once more, Sweden lie the shot behind the guard, but right at the back. Even further back now after that shot of Johnny Fredriksson. Good stone there from him. Edin the chance to come around that stone in at the top of the house there and lie one. Ren, bara ren. Gärna curla. Heder närmast. Heder närmast. Vänta, curla. Nej, långt ut här i linjen. Lägg den bakom tid. Nej, det kommer curla. Vänta ni. På tid. Bakom tid, kom igen. Så länge han lever. Kom igen.
Well, I don't think that's really good enough.
I think Rasmus Stjerning will be able to at least remove one yellow. So ideally, just looking to remove the shot stone and try and sit there. Don't want to allow Sweden to draw on line 2 again, but he's going to roll out. It's not ideal. So Nicholas will be able to come around again, make this one better maybe.
Do you think he's perhaps tried to force Rasmus to make a draw with his last stone here?
Yeah, I think so. Don't want to allow the hit. Certainly feels that the only way to steal 2 here is to make him draw.
Well, sweeping this, I think, for the line. Oh, it's all over the guard. Well, do you know what? That wasn't the right line or the right weight. Quite a long way off target there, Sander.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. Nicholas just realised it was light after releasing it. Not sure if it's just him just being off today. He hasn't certainly made too many shots. So, not sure if we can blame the ice or stones here. I just think Nicholas might just be having the off day, really.
So, last stone here for Rasmus Stern. He just needs to draw a piece of the 8-foot circle and he will get a point. To go ahead 9-5. Stone being nursed there by his two sweepers, and that will be enough. Denmark defeating Sweden by 9 shots to 5 for an important result for them, and demonstrating that Edin is certainly not invincible with that defeat. So we join the Russia v Hungary game in the 10th end. Hungarian third, Georgi Nagy, with his first stone in this end. Trying to draw behind. Hungary trailing 7 shots to 4 against Russia. And Alexei Stikalski just going to clear the guard off, run his shooter. And Nagy selecting his ice here. And the final score in Norway, while we just wait there, final score between Norway and Germany sees the Norwegians win by 6 shots to 4. That leaves them with just 1 loss after 7 rounds. So Georgi Nagy trying to put a guard on this one stone in the rings belonging to Hungary. 3 stones remaining for them, including this, and they need to count 3 to tie the game. So he's just come into the front ring. And Russia, I'm sure, will remove this one. So, if he makes the double takeout here, it could be the last shot of the game. No, he will hit and run.
Nem hosszú szerintem. De nem is rövid.
And if this stone is through the house, that's the end of the game. It is. And Georgi Nagy, offering his hand shake, finishes this game between Russia and Hungary, with the Russians winning by 7 shots to 4. Andrei Drozdov and his team notching up another win. Hungary struggling a bit with their first visit to the A group at the European Championships, first chance to really win the championship for them. Finding it hard going with only 1 win. So the highlights of our feature game in the 4th end. Rasmus Sterne for Denmark, needing this critical draw for his 2 points, which he makes, to go into the lead. Big shot here from Nicholas Edin. He misses it by catching the guard. Gives up 2, and Denmark are suddenly ahead 5 shots to 3. Sweden were forced to take 1 in the sixth end, and here it will be a measure for 3 points for Denmark, which they win, and they go into the lead by 9 points. To 8 points to 5. Eventually running the Swedes out of stones in the ninth end for a 9-5 victory, and with it a 5-2 record at this stage. So the scores in these other matches in this round: Czech Republic downing Switzerland 8-3, Norway 6, Germany 4, Scotland reviving with a 9-7 victory over France, and as we just saw a moment ago, Russia beating Hungary 7 shots to 4. And so after 7 rounds of play, Sweden dropping their game there, now tied in top spot with Norway on 6-1, Czech Republic and Denmark on 5-2 each, Russia on 4-3, along with Switzerland. Scotland winning there to go to 3-4, 1-6 for Germany and France, both losing in that round, and Hungary also losing, staying with no wins on 0-7.
You've just beaten the undefeated Swedish team of Niklas Edin. What does that mean to you?
It's a big win. We knew that so far how it's planned out in this event, we needed at least 2 more wins to stay in contention. So, and these guys have been really hot all week. I think we caught them on a good day because the ice was tricky, and we played pretty well, and they had the good breaks as well.
Yeah, 4 wins and 2 losses. Did it feel like a must win?
Yeah, and to some extent, because we don't know quite yet how it's going to plan out, but now we still might have a shot at the P1-2. So right now we're just going to play 1 game at a time.
We've got 2 games left, Hungary and the Czech Republic. What do you think about your playoff chances?
Well, it's tough. The Czechs have been playing really well, and Hungary have had some close games as well. So we know it's going to be two tough draws tomorrow, and we just got to make sure we prepare for it.
Well, what's your do you have any special preparation for the end of the week?
Yeah, we have a good backup from the Danish program right now, so we're working in all areas right now. So I think we're just about to do the same we've done all week, and hopefully that'll be enough.
Right, thank you, Rasmus.
You're welcome.